til Bøje Larsens blog. Jeg håber, du vil glædes over den video, jeg præsenterer i dag.
Germany has very little to be proud of regarding World War II. They rather have to live with shame for what they did. But there are things and persons that official Germany can and is proud of regarding World War II. One of them is the focus of today's video. Claus von Stauffenberg, who, on July 20th, 1944, made an assassination attempt on Adolf Hitler. It was very close to succeeding. His memory is celebrated in Germany by several memorial sites. One is the Stauffenberg Memorial in Berlin's government district, which includes a statue of Stauffenberg and a plaque explaining the events of July 20th, 1944. Here is also a museum about him and his actions. The street where it is placed has been named Stauffenbergstrasse, which I can recommend you to visit if you go to Berlin. And now, who was Stauffenberg? Colonel Claus Schenk Graf von Stauffenberg, to give his full rank and name, was born in 1907. He was born into a noble and aristocratic family known as the Schenk von Stauffenberg family, which held a long-standing military tradition. His father, Alfred Schenk Graf von Stauffenberg, served as a lieutenant general in the German army. Claus was the third of four brothers and received a traditional education, studying at various military academies. During his younger years, Stauffenberg developed a strong sense of patriotism and had a deep respect for the German military. He joined the German army in 1926 and later attended the prestigious Berlin War Academy, where he excelled in his studies. Stauffenberg had a promising military career and was considered a rising star within the German military ranks. When Hitler took power in 1933, Stauffenberg was happy. Now, the hated democracy of the Weimar Republic would be abolished. And it was. He also saw a possibility that the military could again be respected. Stauffenberg was no Democrat, which is often forgotten today. It was only during World War II that Stauffenberg grew increasingly opposed to Hitler's policies and despised the atrocities committed by the Nazi regime. In 1941, Stauffenberg was serving as a staff officer in the German army, in German, Wehrmacht, during the North African campaign, which took place between 1940 and 1943. He was attached to the 10th Panzer Division under the command of General Owen Rommel, also known as the Desert Fox. Stauffenberg fought in several battles, including the Siege of Tobruk. On April 7, 1943, during the Battle of Mareth in Tunisia, Stauffenberg's vehicle was strafed by a British fighter plane. He suffered severe injuries, including the loss of his left eye, right hand, and 2 fingers on his left hand. He was evacuated to Germany to receive medical treatment and began his long rehabilitation process. Stauffenberg's injuries significantly affected his mobility and dexterity. He had a prosthetic limb fitted to replace his missing hand and underwent therapy to regain his ability to write and perform daily tasks. Despite his physical limitations, Stauffenberg was determined to continue his service and also contribute to the resistance against Hitler. He joined a group of high-ranking officers and civilians who sought to overthrow Hitler and end the war. This group of officers had for a long time been discussing how they could stop Hitler and the war. The conclusion was that they needed to kill Hitler. But how? The first crucial question out of 7 such questions for all would-be assassins and for Stauffenberg was how to get close to the dictator. Here, Stauffenberg was in a unique position because he had a job in the German High Command in Berlin and was sometimes invited, or rather ordered, to come to Hitler's command post. At this time during the war, Hitler was at his Wolf's Lair headquarters in East Prussia, now Poland. As far east as Warsaw, but north of it. Here, Hitler was closer to the war with the Soviet Union, which was the most threatening enemy for Germany at that time. But even if one was invited or ordered to go there, there were many hurdles to pass. Look at this map of the Wolfschanz, in English Wolf's Lair. In the lair, there were 4 areas. The green area, the yellow, the rosa, and then the red zone, Sperrkreis, in German, where Hitler lived and worked. To pass from zone to zone, one had to show documentation and would, most likely, be searched. You can also see that there is a railway track and a Bahnhof, train station, in English. It was used the day after the failed assassination to receive Hitler's brother dictator, Mussolini. The second crucial question for all would-be assassins, and for Stauffenberg, was how to kill the dictator. With a gun, with poison in his food, etc.? Stauffenberg had decided to use a bomb. In fact, he brought two to be sure that the power would be enough to kill Hitler in the conference room where the meeting that Stauffenberg was ordered to participate in would take place. The third crucial question for all would-be assassins, and for Stauffenberg, was how to handle the weapon, in this case, the bomb. Many assassins who have no experience with the weapon they use fail here. But Stauffenberg's military background made him an expert. The two bombs were plastic explosives. Inside each was a detonator, which when activated would make the bombs explode after 10 minutes. But despite Stauffenberg's military background, he made some very small miscalculations, which caused the assassination to fail. He was several times called from his room, where he, with an assistant who shared his view on Hitler, was preparing the bombs. Therefore, they did not have time to arm the second bomb, so Stauffenberg went to Hitler's conference room with only one bomb in his bag. He placed his bag under the conference table near Hitler. Another participant in the meeting moved it a little away from Hitler because this participant needed more room for his legs. Naturally, Stauffenberg could not control that. Finally, despite, or perhaps because of his military experience with weapons and bombs, mainly in the form of grenades, he overestimated the effect of the bomb in the conference hut, which would be an appropriate word for the building where the conference was held. It was made of thin wood. It was summer and hot, and all the windows were open. Finally, the conference table was of heavy oak and had legs in oak around 10 centimeters wide. One of these oak legs were in the way. It was between Stauffenberg's bag and Hitler. It is not that the explosion did not happen and destroyed the hut, as you can see on this picture. All these small things saved Hitler's life. There is an old proverb saying, "For want of a nail the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of a rider, the message was lost. For want of a message, the battle was lost. For want of a battle, the kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail." This means that all assassins must try to control all these details, or understand that these small details can obstruct their assassination. The fourth crucial question for all would-be assassins, and for Stauffenberg, was how to get away before the bomb exploded. Many assassins have not managed this, or have even wanted to die with the bomb. But Stauffenberg wanted to go back to Berlin and the oppositional officer group he was a member of. They wanted to arrest all SS people in Germany and negotiate peace with the Western Allies. He had been flying to Hitler's conference place in East Prussia by a special plane, which was still waiting for him at the small airport, or rather airstrip, near Hitler's conference place. The fifth crucial question for all would-be assassins, and for Stauffenberg, was therefore how to get away from the crime scene. At that time, noise from the explosion could be heard in the background. But he fooled the guards and used his rank, and got to the airstrip. The airplane left for Berlin and landed safely there. He informed his oppositional officer friends that the assassination had been successful. Hitler was dead. Stauffenberg did not know anything else. The sixth crucial question for Stauffenberg was now to arrange the insurrection they wanted. His officer friends were high-ranking and had the authority to do a lot. They and Stauffenberg were even using an emergency plan with the name of Valkyrie, which Hitler had at one time approved in the case of an insurrection. And they started to arrest SS people and others. But then, horror, the officers in the insurrection found out that Hitler had actually survived. Hitler ordered that the officers responsible for the insurrection should be arrested and shot. They were, including Stauffenberg. Here Stauffenberg is shot in a movie with Tom Cruise as Stauffenberg. The seventh crucial question, which Stauffenberg did not have to answer, was how to convince the Western Allies to make a peace agreement. Here, Stauffenberg and the oppositional officers would have faced serious problems. The Allies, including Russia, had agreed to seek Germany's total surrender and not to accept separate peace with Germany. Thank you for watching.